I encourage everyone listening to this, think about something that could really turn you on. Like, what would be flippin' cool, right? Like seeing sunsets from multiple locations all over the world, sunrises. How would you like to start the day in Japan to see the sunrise and see how far you can chase it? See if you can make it to California before the sun goes down. Like, how much fun do you want to have? I've been in cool places with cool people, and I'm telling you, these experiences are worth having. So think about what turns you on.
Welcome to the Life in Paradise podcast, the show about creating a life you never need a vacation from. You'll gain inspiration from those who have done it before as we share experiences, strategies, and offer practical steps you can take to live your dream life in paradise. With your host, attorney turned alchemist, Dawn Fleming.
Today, I am delighted to have a very special guest to help kick off our expert series to relaunch the Overseas Life Redesign podcast as Life in Paradise. I am just thrilled that James MacNeil could join me today. He is the real love guru, a #1 international best-selling author, speaker, coach, and consultant, and for 30 years has circled the globe sharing the world's biggest stages with the biggest stars, including Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Steve Forbes, and one of my all-time favorites, Sir Richard Branson. Lucky guy. Fortune 500 companies and international law enforcement agencies know him as a communications expert, and he's the founder of Verbal, Aikido, and Pure Spiritual Intelligence. James, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Well, I was listening to your introduction. I was thinking, man, I've been busy. just listening to you listen, I'm going, wow, yeah, I've been busy. Yes. I'm honored to be here, Dawn. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, we, kind of do some similar work. And like I said, you were really #1 on my list of folks to talk to in this expert series because I got the pleasure of hearing you being introduced to you actually a year and a half ago, just before my book was becoming a reality. And was just really resonating with everything that you had to say. And it was so meaningful at that point in my career. So thank you for that.
Yay. I'm honored. I'm thrilled to have been a part of it. I know you're touching lives. And I know a lot of people are, they're looking for answers in the context of what you do. And just to be a voice of, just if nothing else, to let people know they're not crazy, right? Start there. And then to have, a community, a camaraderie, other people who think like you, I just think you're doing great work. And so that's why I'm so thrilled to be here. So I'm all yours.
Perfect. So one of my favorite sayings is the universe loves a made-up mind. Mm-hmm. And where I guess I'd like to start is to have you talk a little bit about the importance of making a decision.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Well, without a decision, there's a never-ending backup of potentialities. Right? If you walk through the average day, you can choose, strawberry or chocolate or ice cream or broccoli, and if you don't make these decisions, they just stockpile. So people, when they're looking at their lives, they're like, can I? Should I? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should take this course or go to this place. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. And then it just packs up, and then people become exhausted without doing anything. And their exhaustion is not because of their work, it's because of their indecision. See, once we make a decision, we cut off, right? That's what desi means, it's the cut. When you make a decision, you have a chance. And once you make a decision, you're going to learn or you're going to earn, or both. It's going to work or it's not, but now you can move on. And I fail more than anyone I've ever met. But I don't see it that way. I learn faster than anyone I've ever met. So I'm just a machine to try and play. Like, it's just go for it. And so the universe does love a decided mind. And I do want to, for your listeners, I do want to say this. If at this moment you don't know for sure where you want to go, at least know for sure where you're no longer willing to stay. Start with something. Here's what I do know. That ain't going to happen. Here's what I do know. I'm getting healthy. Here's what I do know. I'm not putting up with that in my life anymore. Here's what I do know. I'm getting me some better friends. Here's what I do know. I'm going to see some cool places, cool things. Just know what you know. You don't have to know everything. Go with what you do know. It'll lead to the rest.
So it doesn't have to be precise decisions, but just general
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the have to. So what I would suggest is be as clear as possible and then don't have too much attachment to it. So I would say have a clear, compelling vision you believe in and feel free to pursue. While on that quest, understand that this just gets you on the path for the plot twist to what's better. So you don't have to become like, it has to go my way. Well, look at you. But what it has to be is perfect. And the path to perfect is play. So you get an idea, you go for it, and en route, the plot twists unlock your perfect dream life. So it's not about you're going to find it without having a plan, but then have the best plan you can and go for it. And know this, it ain't going to look that way. It's going to be better. Enjoy the fun.
Right. So I've also said people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that it was funny. I spoke with a friend recently who retired from Manhattan, actually worked at a hospital and built a house down here in Yucatan in Mexico. And we were talking about some of these things, then, very blessed in his career and so forth, but is, now in retirement, really starting to think about some of these things that maybe never had time to think about before. And it was funny. He called them, we're having adult conversations. And I love that. I was like, I'm going to have to keep that. But what do you think, James? You've done this work for a long time.
Yeah.
Why don't people know what they want?
Well, first of all, I want to tell them that's not true, because you always know what you want. You always know what you think. You always know what you prefer, what you desire. You know what you believe. What you may not have done is allowed yourself to become consciously aware of that knowing. So but you hear people, you're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I want to slap them all and say, you all know what you want to do. You're afraid to tell each other. Why? Because you're afraid they don't like your idea, or you're afraid they're going to disagree, or you're afraid that they're going to dismiss it. It's fear. There is no lack of knowing. There's a lack of accepting. Now, I always know what I think, what I prefer, what I desire, what I believe, and then I don't need it. I don't need to get my way. I don't need things to work out the way I want, and I don't need people to agree with me. I don't need people to like me. But I'm not going to deny the fact that I know. And everyone listening to this, you do know on some level what you want, what you desire, what you prefer, what you believe. It's already in there. Just start breathing and playing. And then all of a sudden, the fear will fall away and you'll be in flow. You know what you want. Start playing.
I love that. That's great. So they do know. They just maybe, yeah, it's, is it, and I was going to put out some possibilities. Is it too hard? Are they lazy? Do they believe they can't have it? But,
Well, what you're saying is actually very important. Belief is a huge part of the equation. So knowing what you desire does not mean they believe they can get it. So the knowing is already there. The believing, having the faith to flow into faith-filled actions, that's another level. So what I say to people is you don't have to know for sure. You merely will want to give yourself a shot, right? Like I have no college, no university. I couldn't speak in sentences till I was 9. I couldn't read till I was 21. I'm a multiple book, and I just hit another one this last weekend. In 4 hours, we went bestseller with Les Brown on another book. So I'm like a machine now with no justification, right? No, there's no reason to believe, that I could do it. But all I did was I moved with what I could believe at the moment, right? And then you build faith in yourself. You build faith, but confidence comes from doing, not from thinking. If you're thinking, if you're hoping that someday you will in your head gain confidence, that's not going to happen. Confidence comes from doing, playing, failing, and realizing it didn't hurt that much, and everyone still loves you. And then you say, wait, I can play bigger now. So I just kept playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. Until now, I do insane things that I can't. I freak myself out, but it's just I earned my stripes up to another level of play. So you don't have to put so much pressure on the believing, but you'll want to have at least confidence that you can survive trying. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to know for sure I'm going to do it, but I know for sure it's not going to happen if you don't play. That's one thing you can know. I remember I was so nervous. Thinking about asking a girl, someone said to me, well, at the moment, that pretty girl over there, do you have a date with her? I said, no. He says, so if you ask her out and she says no, will you have a date with her? I said, no. I said, worst case scenario, you end up where you started. Best case scenario, something good's going to happen. Get over there. And they helped me out. But it's just play and realize we have this fear of failure that is, I think, born in the educational system. So you don't have to know for sure you can do it. You have to believe you can survive trying. Just start playing. But that comes over time, I would say.
So you bring up something that I use as well, the negative visualization. What's the worst case scenario? You move overseas, doesn't work out. What happens? You go back to your old life, right? So is that something you found as an effective technique to kind of lower that fear level?
Yeah, and the other thing is some people focus on what they don't know, and that's the ego. See, the ego only focuses on what you don't have, what you don't know, what you cannot do, and who is not with you. The ego is not a real thing. So its whole world is what isn't, right? It's like cold. Cold isn't a thing. It's just the absence of heat. Darkness isn't a thing. It's just the absence of light. And fear is just the absence of faith. The ego focuses on what it lacks. It's addicted to lack. And the soul only focuses, when someone's in a calm state, they only focus on, well, here's what I do know. Here's what I can do. Here's what I do have. And here's who's with me. And if you keep your playground with what you do know, what you can do, with who's with you, and what you can, whatever the other one, if you stick with what you have instead of what you have not, everything's fine. So you can say, all I know is I'm making it to France. That's one thing I know. And I know when I get to France, I'm going to have my sanity in my wallet. And from there, I should be fine, right? I drove down to Miami, and I didn't make a plan, by the way. I'm in Miami right now. I'll be in Mexico in a couple of weeks. And when I came to Miami, I forgot to make a plan, right? All I know is I'm getting in my car. I'm going to drive all the way to Miami because I do that for fun. And when I get there, I'm going to stay, here it is, somewhere. And you think, well, James, why wouldn't you have a plan? I'm like, well, I'm busy. I got plans all over the place. I just didn't get that plan. And they're like, well, what do you do? I said, worst case scenario, I'll get a hotel. Worst case scenario, I won't like it. But after one day, I'll figure it out. Like, what the heck? People panic over stuff like that. Anyways, long story short, I was in Orlando. I reached out to a buddy. I said, hey, by the way, I said, you've got an Airbnb. Is it available? He says, yeah. He says, how long? I said, 30 days. He says, you're crazy. You're asking me now? You're a couple hours away. I said, eh. And he said, yeah. He said, it's a miracle. It's wide open. So things work out, but you don't have to think past what you know. Here's what I do know. I'll end up in France. I'll end up in Mexico. I'll end up in Argentina. I'll have my sanity in my wallet. And then I'm going to have some fun. Just focus on what you do know. Prepare is wise, sure. But you don't have to know everything. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's funny. It was almost like you read my notes, because the next point I was going to say is one of your favorite sayings that I just gravitated to is, your ego is not your amigo.
Yes. Your ego is not your amigo. It is so not cool, but it's not your fault that you have an ego. We all have an ego, but it is technically a pathological mental illness that we all have. It is a false self. It's a fake ID. It is the answer to the question, who am I, when we found ourselves as a 2-year-old disconnected from source. And so it just built. And the amount of drama and trauma in your childhood, some decisions that you've made as well, may have given you a stronger ego, which is more of a pain in the butt. In any case, we all have it. The question is, do I choose to return to calm? Do I choose to return to confidence? Do I choose to focus on what I do have, I do know, what I can do, and who's with me? And when I'm reconnected to source, in the Bible, it says that you get filled with the Spirit, right? It says, in the Old Testament, there's a phrase that says, be still and know me, God, right? And then in the New Testament, it says, when you enter into that calm state of now and Zen, right? You're just calm in your present. Then you get filled with what the Bible calls the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control all come upon you like a strong wind. Why? Because that's our nature as spiritual beings. And so when we enter into that state, everything's miraculous and in flow. It's just that ego, like you said, it's just not your amigo. But don't feel bad. Don't go, oh no, how do I fight my ego? No, you're feeding right into it. You just say, oh yeah, look at that. It happened again. Oh, well, back to peace. And you just get back to play. It's all good. It happens to all of us all the time.
Great explanation of that. I appreciate that. The other thing that comes up is overcoming adversity. And I know you have done very well with the things that have happened to you, but if you get beat up in midlife, maybe there's a divorce or two, or a business bankruptcy, job loss. And I know, I've known my husband now for 23 years, but when I met him, he was 50 years old, broken, and had no dreams.
Wow. You knew how to pick them. The heart.
I did it. It came up when I sent him to a network marketing training, actually, by one of the biggest dream builders I've ever met in my entire life. And he was actually mad when he came home from that. But, I think there are a lot of folks out there, the walking cadavers, as he would call them. Do you come across folks like that in your work?
Well, yeah. I mean, you started with the idea of overcoming challenges, and then the walking cadaver kind of thing. And I would say that they're definitely often related, right? So let me say this to everyone listening. First of all, life isn't fair. It's never been fair. It never will be fair. We all get our butts kicked. We all have drama and trauma of varying degrees. And by the way, if your life was perfect, that's the toughest thing to overcome, right? How do you function in a world where everyone's broken but you? You are alone. Talk about painful, right? Some people have it too good, and it's a curse. So no matter what your story is, yours was perfectly difficult for you, right? It's all difficult. We have pain, we have discomfort. To say I want a life of comfort means I want to stop living, because comfort and discomfort are part of the story, and you can't avoid it. The question is, which discomfort do I choose? The one of discipline or the one of regret? Discomfort is part of as long as we're in skin, right? We're going to experience discomfort. So the question is, are my challenges curses? Is that bad? No. Everything that happened, I believe, is choreographed by divine love in you, and that you signed up for the story that you've been in. And every single thing was carefully choreographed to give you challenges to build strength. The gymnasium is all about tearing down muscles to make them stronger. The strongest trees are at the edge of the forest. The greatest world changers are the people who survive desert experiences you can't comprehend. As a child, as you know, I've been bullied, beaten, battered, broken, choked, strangled, hung, and drowned. I almost died at the hands of loved ones on multiple occasions. I have a learning disability. I have ADHD, dyslexia. I have OCD, PTSD. I was basically homeless at one point. I finally met, my perfect dream girl, as that part of my life. And we dated for a year, got married, and had 1 year of heaven, and then she dies. It's 30 years old in perfect health. And so I've survived that. I've survived being attacked, betrayed, lied about. I've been, I mean, you name it. But being a victim is an experience, not an identity. It's an experience. Stuff happens. The question is, who am I becoming as a result of this? Am I becoming more patient, more wise, more disciplined? How's my recovery time? Am I getting faster to get back up on that horse? Am I walking forward wiser than I was yesterday? The question is, what am I making of it? Right? Because there will be challenges. The question is, are we going to get better? I don't need, Jim Rohn said, don't ask that the world be better. Ask that you become stronger. And I want to become a person that is unruffleable. You can't mess with me anymore. I want to hit a stage where it's like, yep, I rolled the car on the way to the office. I took a cab. I'm here. And I forgot, I walked out at the end of the day to get in the car that I rolled earlier. Forgot that I rolled it, because who cares? It's just a car. Like, I want to be unruffleable. And that comes with training. And training is, life could be tough. So hopefully that helps. And as far as the Walking Dead, it's about giving up on dreams. I encourage everyone listening to this, think about something that could really turn you on. Like, what would be flippin' cool, right? Like seeing sunsets from multiple locations all over the world, sunrises. How would you like to start the day in Japan to see the sunrise and see how far you can chase it? See if you can make it to California before the sun goes down. Like, how much fun do you want to have? I've been in cool places with cool people, and I'm telling you, these experiences are worth having. So think about what turns you on. What the challenge is just made you a better person. And if not yet, can now.
We'll be back in a moment.
Isla Mujeres is a Caribbean jewel off the coast of Cancun. Castilito del Caribe warmly invites you to enjoy our spectacular oceanfront villa located in the heart of El Centro and a short walk to Playa Norte, which is ranked one of the top 10 beaches in the world. With an ocean view of crystal clear turquoise waters overlooking both the Caribbean and Cancun city skyline, we offer a fabulous location for you to enjoy all the peace and tranquility you're looking for on vacation, while also taking in all the excitement the island has to offer, with activities either in walking distance or a golf cart day excursion away. Please visit CastilitoCaribe.com, www.CastilitoCaribe.com. We look forward to seeing you soon.
I'm so happy to have you with me for the Life in Paradise podcast. I love our listeners and fans, and we'd love to show our appreciation for you supporting the show. So please head over to lifeinparadisepodcast.com, where you can find free resources mentioned in the show, and also register for our gifts, prizes, and swag. I'd also love to hear from you, so there's a place on that page to submit your questions, comments, and requests, so I can serve you better. And if I answer your question on the show, we'll send you a free gift.
Kind of leads into my next topic I want to bring up, because I think it's so important, the role of gratitude.
Oh, sure. So when people talk about vibration and the law of attraction, please know that vibration is just another word for emotion, right? It's just your emotions. If you're vibing high, you're attracting high. And for someone to say, oh, so I should never be at a low vibration, of course you should. You're on Earth, things happen. And sadness is our toxicity removal system. The better we get at sadness, the faster we return to the high vibration that attracts our highest and best. And if you're wondering what that looks like in real life, it just, when you walk into a room, some people are sunshine and some people aren't. Some people can brighten a room just by leaving it. Some people are just negative energy, And so you just want to attract the highest and the best. And so you want to think about that as far as the vibration and the energy, and the way we do that, of course, is by our connection to divine love and our higher self, and then not taking the bait, like we were talking about earlier with the ego, not taking the bait. Now, forgive me, I got excited about a thought that had crossed my mind. So help me out to the degree that I missed your answering your question, because I got excited about too many lines of thought there after you asked my question.
The role of gratitude and
gratitude. Thank you. Yeah, that was it. So gratitude is the fastest path to the highest vibration. It's the fastest path. If you'll focus on what you do have instead of what you don't have, what you have been given instead of what you haven't been given, who's with you instead of who's not. If you'll focus on gratitude, that is the vibration that's very, very high. And so what it does is, a person who's grateful can't be a whiner. A person who's grateful is going to be a contributor. When you spend enough time in gratitude, all of a sudden you unlock what's called the abundant mentality. And people think abundance is about wealth. No. The wealth is the after effect of the spiritual state called abundant. The abundant mentality always activates altruism. The moment you feel abundant, that you need nothing and need no one, you love and treasure everything and love and treasure everyone. When you come from a need-free environment, you just focus on what you do have, you just become a machine for making the world a better place. You just go for it. You just go and go and go, and your desires, and desire means down from the stars. Pure desires all come from heaven, if you will. And our desires move from us to others. And all of a sudden we get turned on by changing the world. Now you're a machine, right? So gratitude is the pathway. Gratitude is the attitude of altitude. And if ever you find yourself in less than a perfect state, as we all do, what are you grateful for? For what can you be grateful right now? I encourage everyone listening to this, just jot down, what are some things I can be grateful for? The fact that you can even listen to this, that's something to be grateful for. How many people don't have the technology, the access? Maybe instead of listening to this, some people are hearing bombs in the distance. You and I are blessed with being able to have beautiful, loving conversations about how to have a better life, travel the world, to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with whom you want, as much as you want, and leave the world a better place. Oh, that's to be grateful for.
Yeah. And my next point was, tell me about the new rich.
Yeah, that's it, right?
You just did, right?
Yeah. I keep leading into the next one. It's like we're in sync. And honest, everyone, I wasn't told the questions, but yeah, the new rich. So the old rich is stuff, and I'm all for stuff. So I'm looking out the window. I'm on the 76th floor of Panorama building. I'm visiting a friend, down in Miami. It's the tallest building in the state of Florida. And I'm looking down on the building tops, and I'm looking across the way here as I'm speaking with you at Brickell Key. And here I am looking at these beautiful yachts, and I, pull in the parking lot, and I have to drive past, McLarens and Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches, and there's like $1 billion of steel and rubber in the garage. And so this is stuff, and I'm all for stuff, right? People have nice stuff. But for me, I have stuff, and I'm going to have more stuff, but the stuff doesn't have me. It's stuff, and it's all stewardship, right? It's what am I making with what I've been given, with time, talent, treasure, contacts, and wealth. And the more I make of it, the more I make. And so I really treasure this idea of the new rich. And that's the beautiful thing about the new economy. People can live anywhere in the world to do anything they want. Before COVID, I thought I actually had to stay put, and now I'm almost never in Canada. I love Canada. I love Toronto, where I'm home. I have my home there, and then I'm going to have a place here in Miami, and I just got a place in in Mexico. But it's freedom, right? It's freedom. We can do anything we want from anywhere in the world, and that's the new rich. To be able to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with whom you want, as much as you want. I about 6 months ago, I said, my friend group is prime for an upgrade. I love my friends, and I just feel like, if you're the person doing the best in your group, you need another group. Like to have people who are going to challenge you higher. I want to hang out with people who freak me out, because I'm busy freaking everyone else out. I want to hang out with people who say, let's do this. I'm like, how do you even think that big? These are the people I want to hang out with. Don't get me wrong. I want to always be genuinely connected with everyone at all levels, but it is important who we let into the inner circle. It's important to me that I love everyone, but I'm very selective of who gets proximity position in my life. And so, long story short, I had that. And then yesterday, one of the people that was on my hit list of next besties, I met with him, and he built $1 billion business recently. And I hung out with him, and we're gonna play together. We're gonna do more things. So that's the kind of thing that we get to do. You get to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with whom you want, as much as you want. This is living. This is freedom.
Yeah, amen. And I think, that's what really started that whole journey for us, James, is, my husband had a very successful electrical engineering business. He put cameras on the space shuttle, and
wow,
amazing things, right? And I had, reached the pinnacle, went to law school, did international business transactions. I got to, travel the world my first year out of school, sitting at these high level, board level, doing these things. And you know what? I was freaking miserable. Because, I'm sitting at it sounds sexy, right? But you're sitting at the desk in an office at a computer, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, pumping out legal documents. And I was really freaking good at it. But that's what I learned. It's like, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that's what you should do, A. Sure. And number two, I looked around and I said, oh my God, I'm going to die at my desk. If I continue practicing law and living in Southern California, and you buy the bigger house and the fancier cars and all that stuff, and I'm like, this is not making me happy, right? Yeah. And then we got married in BVI and didn't get in a car for 3 weeks. We chartered a sailboat, just you and I. We get back to Southern California, 6 lanes of traffic in each direction, none of it moving. We looked at each other and said, this is our life, right? And sometimes I talk about how getting out of your environment really opens up your perspective, right?
Oh yeah. I didn't travel at all. As a young person, I would have been one of that. You know how many people don't see the outside of their own town, their own region? It's unbelievable, And so here we are, just dancing all over the globe, living the life, and it's so sad. But I think one of the things that happened for me is as a speaker, I was asked to go there and go there and go there. When I was first asked to speak in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, honestly, I didn't know it was a place. I thought it was an animal, a koala bear. But it's a beautiful place with beautiful people. But that's how uneducated I am. I didn't do too well at that school thing. So I go over there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this. I started doing volunteer missions trip into Latin America, fell in love with it. Now, Latin America is second home, and travel the world, places like Thailand and Singapore. You're not the same when you see some of these places. And it's like a good, godly, healthy potato chip. When you eat one, that's it. The bag is in danger, right? once you start traveling, people who travel are the best people, I think, because they learn to respect the differences and celebrate the uniquenesses of cultures and people groups. And instead of saying they're not like me, as in they should be, we say, fascinating. What can I take away? What can I learn? How can I honor? And it just, travelers are somehow enlightened. There's something about it. And I really, I just don't know why people don't, And I'm always, my parents, my mom's scared to death. First time I went to Mexico City, Jimmy, you can't go there. I'm like, why not? She said, they're killing everybody, killing everybody. I said, Mom, look, there's 30 million people. There's so many people to kill. They'll never get around to me, but it's such a beautiful thing to just see the world and taste the food and meet the people. Oh, it's heaven on earth. Get to see it all.
Cool. Well, I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to share a major epiphany that I've had recently. Your feedback on it. So I've been doing this work, helping people create their dream life, and getting them dialed in and finding the path and all of this important work. And I don't know, I think it was in one of my meditations, I just got this epiphany. I went, you know what? This isn't just about helping individuals create their dream life. Because if they can learn these skills and they can raise their vibration to this level, we can change the world, right? The collective raising of the vibration that leads to a better world, right?
Yeah, I love it. Well, do you know the 100th monkey story?
No, I think I know of the monkey with the hand in. I remember you talked about that, sticking the hand in.
Oh no, the trap. No, this is a different story. So this is, I'm told, a true story about some missionaries who were on some remote island somewhere, and the monkeys there were getting sick and some dying. And so they asked the indigenous people, what's going on? And they said, well, we don't know. And then they found out that something had happened with the airflow or something, and some kind of a micro insect had come onto the island, and it had covered the fruit that the monkeys like to eat. And when they're eating the fruit with this insect on it, they were getting sick and some dying. And the solution was very simple: just rinse it in water. Just put it in water and rub your hands over it. It didn't take soap and water. It wasn't the end of the world. Just rinse it. And the beautiful thing about monkeys is monkey see, monkey do. So what they did is they said, let's just show them. So take a monkey and then rinse the fruit and give it to the monkey. It was like, oh, fun. So the monkey started rinsing the fruit. Then they teach another monkey. And after they teach a few monkeys, they notice the monkeys started teaching the monkeys. So it's compounding growth very quickly. So the monkeys start showing each other and then they start showing each other, and it started to grow really fast. And then here's what happened. When they counted, because it freaked them out. When the 100th monkey on this island, and there's thousands of monkeys, when the 100th monkey started rinsing the fruit, all monkeys on the island instantly started rinsing the fruit and didn't have to be taught. It was a collective consciousness. When you hit a critical mass, you change a species. And not only on that island, but neighboring islands, all the monkeys of all the neighboring islands began rinsing their fruit instantly when they hit a 100th monkey. I've done some research, and I've been told that if we hit 2% of any population, we change the entire population. 2% can change any population. So as we begin to touch lives one by one, now we might not start with an entire country, but we can start with a community. We can start with a school or a church or the bowling league. You start with some controlled number. But when 2% hit some level of enlightenment that changes everything, everyone starts to get it. And then that group permeates the next group and the next group. And my question is, how many love machines will it take to change the world? When we help people tap into divine love and realize everything's perfect, everything's improving, we're all part of this beautiful divine dance. And this is not the best possible universe. This is the best possible path to the best universe. And we're all part of the plan. We're divine love ambassadors. And it gets very exciting to say, how many will it take? How many light bearers will it take to change the world? And Dawn, this gets me very excited. Just light that fire.
Yeah, and I've heard that same thing too. And the answer is not as many as you would think.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's very exciting. I'm so thrilled for what you're doing. You're touching lives. I'm so honored to be able to be a part of this today. Thank you.
Oh, and thank you. And I know you have a gift for.
I do. and this is a huge honor. Do you have the specific link that we gave you? Do you want me to use my main link? How do we best do it?
Yeah, I'll
put
put
it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So in the show notes, Dawn will share with you a link to get a free copy of my book. Now, I got good news and bad news. Good news is it's amazing. I know I'm not purely objective here, but it's amazing. So says a bunch of folks. And the bad news is, but it's also good news, it's only the first 5 chapters. It's like a real quick sprint. I had to tease some people, so I published the first 5 chapters. And I did this a few years ago. And the full book will be coming out soon. Anyone who takes this free first 5 chapter teaser edition, it's an online book. I'm not mailing it to you. But when you get that, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, that signs you up to get the whole book for free the moment it comes out. And I've got a really cool chapter I'll be sharing really soon. With everyone who gets this free teaser edition, I'm going to be sending more and more and more. And then you're going to get the whole book as my gift. And so I love it. And then once you get the book and you share it, I'll actually reward you for passing it on, for sharing the love. Because I think, Dawn, you and I agree, but I think your listeners all agree too. We would love it if this world was a better place. We would love it if people were happier and healthier. We would love it if this was a safer place for kids, if this was a healthier place for business. We would love it if we could have a positive impact on the world. And I've done the work. I've been working on this book for over 30 years. All you have to do is click and send. But if you'll send it, I'll give you what's called Dream Life Dollars, 10 Dream Life Dollars every time you share it. So please grab this link, Dawn will share with you, and then send it to 3 people, just 3 people you love, people you like. I don't care. Send it to your enemies. Send it to someone who you really don't like. I don't care. But get a loving message out there at no cost for you or them, and I'll thank you for it. So yeah, Dawn, I would love it if people picked up their free copy of Pure Spiritual Intelligence. It is a metaphysical success philosophy, and it ignites the best possible you in your best possible life. And I'd be honored if you and your listeners would grab that and allow it to touch their lives and pass it on.
Fabulous. That's a wonderful gift. We really appreciate your time today.
Oh, my pleasure. Are you kidding me? I love it. Thank you, Dawn.
Thanks for tuning in to the Life in Paradise podcast. Did you love this episode? If so, we'd love for you to follow, rate, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We invite you to tune in every week for more inspired insights and wisdom to create your Somebody Pinch Me reality. And until next time, dream big and act on it daily.